Animatronics refers to the use of robotic devices to emulate a human or an animal, or bring lifelike characteristics to an otherwise inanimate object. Animatronic creations include animals, plants and even mythical creatures. A robot designed to be a convincing imitation of a human is more specifically labeled as an android. Modern animatronics have found widespread applications in movie special effects and theme parks and have, since their inception, been primarily used as a spectacle of amusement. Animatronics is a multidisciplinary field which integrates anatomy, robots, mechatronics, and puppetry, resulting in lifelike animation. Animatronic figures are often powered by pneumatics, hydraulics, or by electrical means, and can be implemented using both computer control and human control, including teleoperation. Motion actuators are often used to imitate muscle movements and create realistic motions in limbs. Figures are covered with body shells and flexible skins made of hard and soft plastic materials, and finished with details like colors, hair and feathers and other components to make the figure more realistic. Etymology. Animatronics is portmanteau of animate and electronics. The term audio animatronics was coined by Walt Disney when he started developing animatronics for entertainment and film. Audio animatronics does not differentiate between animatronics and androids. Automatronics was also defined by Walt Disney Imagineers to describe a more advanced audio animatronic technology featuring cameras and complex sensors to process information around the character's environment and respond to that stimulus. Timeline 1220 to 1240. The portfolio of Villard de Honnecourt depicts an early escapement mechanism in a drawing titled How to Make an Angel Keep Pointing His Finger Toward the Sun, and an automaton of a bird with jointed wings. 1550. Leonardo da Vinci designed and built the Automata Lion. 1738. The construction of automata begins in Grenoble, France by Jacques de Vaucanson. First a flute player that could play 12 songs, the flute player, followed by a character playing a flute and drum or tambourine, the tambourine player, and concluding with a moving, quacking, flapping, eating duck, the digesting duck. 1770. Pierre-Jacques Droz and his son Henry-Louis Jacques Droz, both Swiss watchmakers, start making automata for European royalty. Once completed, they had created 3 dolls. One doll was able to write, the other play music, and the third doll could draw pictures. 1801. Joseph Jacquard builds a loom that is controlled autonomously with punched cards. 1939. Sparco, the robot dog, pet of Electro, performs in front of the public, but Sparco, unlike many depictions of robots in that time, represented a living animal, thus becoming the very first modern-day animatronic character, along with an unnamed horse which was reported to gallop realistically. The animatronic galloping horse was also on display at the 1939 World's Fair, in a different exhibit than Sparco's. 1939 New York World's Fair. 1961 Heinrich Ernst develops the MH-1, a computer-operated mechanical hand mitt. 1961 Walt Disney coins the term audio animatronics and begins developing modern animatronic technology. 1963 The first animatronics, called audio animatronics, created by Disney were the enchanted tiki birds, Disneyland. 1964 In the film Mary Poppins, animatronic birds are the first animatronics to be featured in a motion picture. 1965 The first animatronics figure of a person is created by Disney and is Abraham Lincoln. 1977 Chuck E. Cheese opens its doors, as the first restaurant with animatronics as an attraction. 1982 Ben Franklin is the first animatronic figure to walk up a set of stairs. 1989 The first A100 animatronic is developed for the film The Wizard of Oz to represent the Wicked Witch of the West. 1993 The largest animatronic figure ever built is the T-Rex for the movie Jurassic Park. 1998 Tiger Electronics begins selling Furby an animatronic pet with over 800 English phrases or furbish and the ability to react to its environment. Vernon Hills, Illinois, May 11, 1999. Sony releases the AIBO Animatronics Pet. Tokyo, Japan, 2008. Mr. Potato Head at the Toy Story exhibit features lips with superior range of movement to any other animatronic figure previously. Disney's Hollywood Studios, October 31, 2008, July 1, 2009. The Abraham Lincoln animatronic character is upgraded to incorporate automatronic technology. The Hall of Presidents, September 28, 2009. Disney develops Otto, the first interactive figure that can hear, see and sense actions in the room. D23 Expo. History. Origins. The 3rd century BC text of the Lisi describes an encounter between King Mu of Zhou and an artificer, known as Yanshi, who presented the king with a life-size automaton. The figure was described as able to walk, pose and sing, and when dismantled was observed to consist of anatomically accurate organs. The 5th century BC Mohist philosopher Motzi and his contemporary Lu Ban are attributed with the invention of artificial wooden birds that could successfully fly in the Han Feiz in 1066. The Chinese inventor Su Song built a water clock in the form of a tower which featured mechanical figurines which timed the hours. In 1515, Leonardo da Vinci designed and built the Automata Lion, one of the earliest described animatrons. The mechanical lion was presented by Giuliano de' Medici of Florence to François I, King of France, as a symbol of an alliance between France and Florence. The Automata Lion was rebuilt in 2009 according to contemporary descriptions and Da Vinci's own drawings of the mechanism. Prior to this, Da Vinci had designed and exhibited a mechanical knight at a celebration hosted by Ludovico Sforza at the court of Milan in 1495. The robot was capable of standing, sitting, opening its visor and moving its arms. The drawings were rediscovered in the 1950s and a functional replica was later built. Early implementations. Clocks. While functional, early clocks were also designed as novelties and spectacles which integrated features of early animatronics. Approximately 1220 to 1230. Villard de Honnecourt wrote the portfolio of Villard de Honnecourt, which depicts an early escapement mechanism in a drawing titled How to Make an Angel Keep Pointing His Finger Toward the Sun, and an automaton of a bird with jointed wings, which led to their design implementation in clocks. Because of their size and complexity, the majority of these clocks were built as public spectacles in the town centre. One of the earliest of these large clocks was the Strasbourg Clock, built in the 14th century, which takes up the entire side of a cathedral wall. It contained an astronomical calendar, automata depicting animals, saints and the life of Christ. The clock still functions to this day, but has undergone several restorations since its initial construction. The Prague astronomical clock was built in 1410. Animated figures were added from the 17th century onwards. The first description of a modern cuckoo clock was by the Augsburg nobleman Philip Hainhofer in 1629. The clock belonged to Prince Elector August von Sachsen. By 1650, the workings of mechanical cuckoos were understood and were widely disseminated in Athanasius Kirch's Handbook on Music, Musica Universalis. In what is the first documented description of how a mechanical cuckoo works, a mechanical organ with several automated figures is described. In 18th century Germany, clockmakers began making cuckoo clocks for sale. Clock shops selling cuckoo clocks became commonplace in the Black Forest region by the middle of the 18th century. Attractions. A banquet in Camilla of Aragon's honor in Italy, 1475, featured a lifelike automated camel. The spectacle was a part of a larger parade which continued over days. In 1454, Duke Philip created an entertainment show named the Extravagant Feast of the Pheasant, which was intended to influence the Duke's peers to participate in a crusade against the Ottomans, but ended up being a grand display of automata, giants, and dwarfs. Giovanni Fontana, a Paduan engineer in 1420, developed Bellicorum Instrumentorum Liber, which includes a puppet of a camelot driven by a clothed primate twice the height of a human being and an automaton of Mary Magdalene. Implementations. Modern attractions. The earliest modern animatronics can actually be found in old robots. While some of these robots were in fact animatronics, at the time they were thought of simply as robots because the term animatronics had yet to become popularized. The first animatronics characters to be displayed to the public were a dog and a horse. Each were the attraction at two separate spectacles during the 1939 New York World's Fair. Sparco, the robot dog, pet of Electro the robot, performs in front of the public at the 1939 New York World's Fair, but Sparco is not like normal robots. Sparco represents a living animal, thus becoming the very first modern-day animatronics character, along with an unnamed horse which was reported to gallop realistically. The animatronics galloping horse was also on display at the 1939 World's Fair, in a different exhibit than Sparco's. Walt Disney is often credited for popularizing animatronics for entertainment after he bought an animatronic bird while he was vacationing, although it is disputed whether it was in New Orleans or Europe. Disney's vision for audio animatronics was primarily focused on patriotic displays rather than amusements. In 1951, 2 years after Walt Disney discovered animatronics, he commissioned machinist Roger Broggie and sculptor Wathel Rogers to lead a team tasked with creating a 9-tall figure that could move and talk, simulating dance routines performed by actor Buddy Ebsen. The project was titled Project Little Man, but was never finished. A year later, Walt Disney Imagineering was created. After Project Little Man, the Imagineering team at Disney's first project was of Chinese head, which was on display in the lobby of their office. Customers could ask the head questions and it would reply with words of wisdom. The eyes blinked and its mouth opened and closed. The Walt Disney Production Company started using animatronics in 1955 for Disneyland's ride, The Jungle Cruise, and later for its attraction Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room, which featured animatronics enchanted tiki birds. The first fully completed human audio animatronic figure was Abraham Lincoln, created by Walt Disney in 1964 for the 1964 World's Fair in New York. In 1965, Disney upgraded the figure and coined it as the Lincoln Mark II, which appeared at the Opera House at Disneyland Resort in California. For 3 months, the original Lincoln performed in New York, while the Lincoln Mark II played 5 performances per hour at Disneyland. Body language and facial motions were matched to perfection with the recorded speech. Actor Royal Dano voiced the animatronics version of Abraham Lincoln. Lucky the Dinosaur is an approximately 8-foot-tall green Segnosaurus which pulls a flower-covered cart and is led by Chandler the dinosaur handler. Lucky is notable in that he was the first free-roving audio animatronic figure ever created by Disney's Imagineers. The flower cart he pulls conceals the computer and power source. The Muppet Mobile Lab is a free-roving, audio animatronic entertainment attraction designed by Walt Disney Imagineering. 2 Muppet characters, Dr. Bunsen Honeydew and his assistant, Beaker, pilot the vehicle through the park, interacting with guests and deploying special effects such as foggers, flashing lights, moving signs, confetti cannons and spray jets. It is currently deployed at Hong Kong Disneyland in Hong Kong. A Laughing Sal is one of several automated characters that were used to attract carnival and amusement park patrons to fun houses and dark rides throughout the United States. Its movements were accompanied by a raucous laugh that sometimes frightened small children and annoyed adults. The Rockafire explosion in an animatronic robot band that played in Showbiz Pizza Place from 1980 to 1990. Film and television. The film industry has been a driving force revolutionizing the technology used to develop animatronics. Animatronics are used in situations where a creature does not exist, the action is too risky or costly to use real actors or animals, or the action could never be obtained with a living person or animal. Its main advantage over CGI and stop motion is that the simulated creature has a physical presence moving in front of the camera in real time. The technology behind animatronics has become more advanced and sophisticated over the years, making the puppets even more realistic and lifelike. Animatronics were first introduced by Disney in the 1964 film Mary Poppins, which featured an animatronics bird. Since then, animatronics have been used extensively in such movies as Jaws and E.T. the Extraterrestrial, which relied heavily on animatronics. Directors such as Steven Spielberg and Jim Henson have been pioneers in using animatronics in the film industry. The 1993 film Jurassic Park used a combination of computer-generated imagery in conjunction with life-sized animatronic dinosaurs built by Stan Winston and his team. Winston's animatronic T-Rex stood almost 20 feet. 40 feet in length, and even the largest animatronics weighing 9,000 pounds were able to perfectly recreate the appearance and natural movement on screen of a full-sized Tyrannosaurus Rex. Jack Horner called it the closest I've ever been to a live dinosaur. Critics referred to Spielberg's dinosaurs as breathtakingly and terrifyingly realistic. The 1999 BBC miniseries Walking with Dinosaurs was produced using a combination of about 80% CGI and 20% animatronic models. The quality of computer imagery of the day were good, but animatronics were still better at distance shots, as well as close-ups of the dinosaurs. Animatronics for the series were designed by British animatronics firm Crawley Creatures. The show was followed up in 2007 with a live adaptation of the series, Walking with Dinosaurs, The Arena Spectacular. Geoff Peterson is an animatronic human skeleton that serves as the sidekick on the late-night talk show The Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson. Often referred to as a robot skeleton, Peterson is a radio-controlled animatronic robot puppet designed and built by Grant Maher of Mythbusters. Advertising in video games. The British advertisement campaign for Cadbury Schweppes titled Gorilla featured an actor inside a gorilla suit with an animatronically animated face. The Slow Skis was an advertising campaign for Comcast Cable's Xfinity broadband internet service. The ad features two animatronic turtles, and it won the Gold Effie Award in 2007. The 2010 video game Epic Mickey and its sequel featured Donald, Daisy, and Goofy as animatronics. The main antagonists of the indie game series Five Nights at Freddy's are animatronic animal characters, resembling those found in Chuck E. Cheese's and Showbiz Pizza, and other similarly styled restaurants. Toys. Some examples of animatronic toys include Teddy Ruxpin, Big Mouth, Billy Bass, Kota the Triceratops, Pleo, Wow We Alive Chimpanzee,